Hi, everybody. So this is it. This is the last video that you're going to get. It seems like it went by like that. All right. So what I'm going to do is give my feedback for the discussions, the general discussion. Then we're going to talk really quickly about the final project. And then I'm going to give some information that might not be clear. And then once I start digging into what we're doing if you are somebody who doesn't like to watch the videos, you can just stop. All right. But first up, feedback. So I'm going to start with 1475 today because I usually start with 74 because, numerical order. All right, here's the thing. It's really funny to me. 1475, I don't usually discuss the book discussion, but I was really like 1475 did not like Not So Pure and Simple. Like there was some begrudging, like, sure, for the right kid, but they didn't really like it. Whereas 1474 was like, oh my gosh, this book is really good. And even in the general discussion, the character of Jameer in 1474 came up in discussion. So I just thought it was funny that two groups tended to, one went one way and one went the other way. So I just found that interesting. All right. Oh, another quick announcement is that John Leroy, who's in 1474, has not done the partner work yet. And so if you have not done the partner work, I've got a spreadsheet, but I haven't been terrifically looking at it, but John's somebody to hit up. And he said he's reading Promise Boys right now, but he said he'd be willing to switch to something else. But honestly, you can still partner even if you have two different books, maybe do a compare and contrast kind of thing. So if you are looking for a partner, go into the section 2, the section 2 introduction, and there's that spreadsheet there. Go in there and contact information is in there. I have been so loosey-goosey about not asking what book people are doing for week 12. I'm just gonna let it happen. So we'll see how that goes. All right. To the discussion for 1475, there were some really good quotes. This week, somebody said, they quoted, "Just because you were offended doesn't mean you are correct," which, yes, someone else said it should be on a t-shirt, and I concur. Then somebody brought up the Houston, Texas school library thing, which is where the district, which I believe is the largest or second largest district in the state, is getting rid of librarians, and they're going to turn them into discipline centers, which, oh my goodness, there's a lot to unpack there. Then there was a heartbreaking video. It was a country song about two gay coal miners in love that I watched. And of course I cried as intended. Basically, a lot of the discussion about, representation and acceptance in school libraries led to a lot of really interesting places. Somebody quoted Thomas Huxley, the secret of genius is to carry the spirit of childhood into maturity, which I really like and might embroider that one on a sampler. Last night at the Telegraph Club, somebody posted a really nice overview of that, which is one of my favorite LGBTQ titles of the last few years. It's a long one. It's been one of the titles for this class before. I may bring it back at some point. It's beautiful. I actually wrote a fan letter to the author, to Melinda Lowe, after I read it because it was so good. Oh my gosh. Somebody mentioned they were a late bloomer and they learned about love from reading books. Me too. I learned so much from reading books. And then somebody else posted about Graceling, the love scenes in Graceling, and how truly awkward they are to read as an adult, but that as a teenager or tween, they would have eaten them up. And I was like, oh yeah, when you take them out of context like that, when you're not carried away in the emotions of the book, wow, that is some clunky ass romance there, pardon my French. All right. And then someone brought up Strange New Worlds, which I actually have a date this evening with my spouse to sit and watch the two most recent episodes of Strange New Worlds. So excited about the musical. And then somebody else referenced the book The 2000s Made Me Gay, which phenomenal title, already ordered it. And then a couple of other things. New Adult came up, which we have an article about this week for week 12. And then somebody mentioned how they hate the phrase "the island of misfit toys," which I hadn't really thought about. But yeah, now that you mention it, that is kind of, thanks for putting that into a different perspective for me. So 1474, somebody posted about how their kids, who I can't remember, but they're youngish, maybe 5 and 7. They said that their kids don't really seem to notice gender. Rather than saying the man or the woman, they say the person, which, it's funny because my kids give zero, they care not at all about people's, hold on, motorcycles going by. They don't really care about, who people are partnered with, gay, straight, whatever. It means nothing to them. And maybe, because that's just their generation, and maybe gender's going that way. It becomes a non-issue. That'd be nice. And then somebody brought up how teachers sometimes say, we're not their friends, we're their teachers, but we, of course, can be friendly. And I would argue that you can be both someone's friend and someone's teacher. Not like you're hanging out, having coffee outside of school, but there are students who, I'm not supposed to say you like some students more than other students, but there are students with whom I have an affinity, students who I look forward to coming up and seeing me. And I know I've had students say, oh, I'm going to miss you this summer, look forward to seeing you every day. Like, there are students with whom you have friendships. And I don't think that that's, as long as it's not impacting the way, you're not giving them preferential treatment, I don't think that's right. Anyway, those teachers seem singularly unfriendly to me. All right. Somebody mentioned their mom used to wrap Harlequin romances in brown paper to take them to work, which is hysterical. Somebody said, oh yeah, they brought up the fact that there are more and more books coming out with LGBT characters without it being a thing. That's not the premise of it. They're just a character who's gay, who's living their life, which is great. And how things, and then somebody at elementary said that they don't deal with like gender identity so much as like middle school and high school people do, but representation is important. And so they have, they're offering things that allow kids to see themselves or their parents or whatever in the books, which I thought was great. Somebody else asked about the library as a safe space, as a drop-in for elementary. Somebody did talk about that with older kids in their school. I think that would be a great query to put out on the MSLA listserv too, to see who's doing that and maybe get some information there. And then somebody said they're teaching, they're not in a library yet, but they're pride sticker on the computer pride stickers and the backpack pins, and having the stickers, out for kids shows them as an ally. And somebody, and I didn't write it down, but they mentioned something about like, it doesn't take a tremendous amount of effort to have a real impact, and for kids to know that you're somebody that they can, rely on, or just know that you are accepting. So I thought that was really great. It was nice, heartwarming discussion to read this week. So the week 11 discussion is currently going on, curriculum wise, very nice, not too dry, which is good, because sometimes curriculum week can be like a bit of a snooze, but it's not at this point. So let's talk about the discussion for next week, because I don't know how clear it is in the writing, but there's the book discussion is going to be you posting a review or a book talk or whatever. You're posting about the book that you're reading independently. Everybody's picking their own book that they're reading. You're posting about that just to let everybody else in the classes know about it. So don't put too many spoilers in there. This is like to raise interest for everybody else. And then your responses, I don't know how I grade it if you still need to respond to it, but you know what, your other two posts can just be like, wow, this sounds great, I'm going to pick it up, something supportive for your classmates. And then that's the book discussion. The general discussion is you can talk about what you were like as a reader. You can, of course, talk about the articles that are out there. And I would also love your feedback on the course. Just what really worked for you? What would you like to change? That would help me out for next year. Is that everything? I believe that it is. Okay. So, the final project. So let me put this up here. And the final project is a literacy promotion project. Okay, so there are articles down here: Gardner's Design for Engagement, McLean's 50 Ways to Promote School Reading, Teen Reading, Hinton's Reading and Community, and Gavigan's Graphic Novels and Bibliotherapy. Those are all things that can point you in the direction of maybe something that you could do for this project. It's your final, so it should have something you should have been hacking away at. The things that are necessary is a list of at least 15 upper middle grade to YA books. Somebody who's in an elementary school did ask if they could focus on the middle grade, and that's okay, but just make sure, like, no picture books. We're doing books that a middle schooler would still be interested in. The reading level is not so much a big thing as the interest level. And then real world. So if this involves getting a grant, you need to say where you would get the grant for. You don't have to apply for the grant, but you have to be aware of where they are. It be clear about the population that it's directed at. It could be everybody. It could be a small group. It could be, you know, working with school counselors, whatever. And then I wrote the presentation should be 3 to 5 pages in length, but if you prefer another format, if you want to do it as video, if you want to do it as PowerPoint, that is a-okay with me. A PowerPoint and video, both fine. If it's anything, you know, more outlandish than that, maybe let me know. But as far as the length, you know, long enough to give me the information. I am happy if you want to partner up with somebody. This is another opportunity to work collaboratively. That's great. Any collaboration that you can do is fine. So there's that. All right. And then our content for this week is what do teens like? So find a teenager and ask them. I already just talked about the discussion. The blog is books that are popular right now. Then we have some articles that I will look at in a second. So basically, you know, be thinking about what you were like as a teenager. And I am always amazed at how many people in these classes were like, I didn't read as a kid, because for me, that is all that I did. Talking to other humans, I don't know, I'm not a fan. So it's really interesting to see how we all have such different trajectories coming to this in our lives. So basically think about that. And then let's see. Oh, so I'm going to just talk about the articles really quick. The first one is our last one from Bridget. Thank you so much, Bridget, for all you've done for us this half a semester. This one is about shoujo manga, which is like shonen manga, is like actiony, adventure-y, boyish, and these are written specifically for girls. And even though I just recently said, why is gender such a big deal? Apparently in manga it is. So there's that. Then we get to Bird, which is, oh, now it's coming up good. Outlandish. This is about looking at books in translation, which is a really interesting thing, like how much, you know, just getting a different worldview. So books in translation and how those can impact kids' reading. Then we've got, this is the article about New Adult, YA Grows Up. Then Kelly Jensen is looking at As Seen on Book Talk. And this is, oh my God, Book Talk, what you have done for good old, what's her name? You know who I mean? The one that everybody's reading all the time. Oh my gosh, she was the most requested writer. Nope, it's gone. Colleen Hoover. The Book Talk, just the kids weeping and, you know, getting things done. I will say, you know, she made kids read. All right. Anyway, that's Book Talk. Then Show Me the Funny. These are funny books. Humor keeps them reading. Why isn't there more? Why indeed? Then we've got Text Appeal. This is teaching your students how to talk intelligently about books so that you can help them find more books. So this is about making readers' advisory more effective. Then we've got my favorite. It is not required, but it's highly recommended. Lizzie Skernick got her own imprint. I actually have, oh my goodness, it's time for visual aids. So Lizzie Skernick got her own imprint from somebody. It doesn't even say, they just say Lizzie Skernick, but she reprinted all these books that I loved. Nobody's Family's Going to Change, Debutante Hill. What else have I got? Lisa and Lottie. This is the book that inspired The Parent Trap. Isn't that crazy? And it was written in, I don't know, the late 40s. Lois Duncan, written in the stars. Nobody's dying in this Lois Duncan book. Anyway, sorry. I've gotten beyond myself. I didn't show you the whole set. I have the whole set. Anyway, she is a publisher who, her thing is nostalgia reading the books. She used to have a great website that is, it was Jezebel had it on there. And she talked about, she would like deconstruct a book. It was so wonderful. Anyway, so she is talking about what it's like to be the kind of reader that I was, which is to say an obsessive reader, hiding in the bathroom at social events so that you can read. I may or may not still do that. I may or may not have a plan to do it this afternoon. Anyway, so It's not required, but honestly, it's the best thing in the course, I think. Who am I to judge? All right. And then finally, teens top 10. This is YALSA's list that is for teens, by teens. And these are all very popular titles that are teen recommended. So that will give you an eye towards what they are interested in. Okay, I think that's everything. Gosh. Okay. If you have any questions, you know how to find me. Canvas, I am actually not teaching this fall. So if you have any questions and you want to reach me about anything after, I would say September 1, probably I have other email addresses or through MSLA, you can get a hold of me. And it's been really, really fun. I've enjoyed your work so much. And I hope that you have a great last few weeks of summer. And I'll see you in the discussion and you'll be getting some feedback. So I'm not going away forever, but it's just, this is every time. It's like the last day of camp. Okay. Have a great rest of your summer. I'll see you in the discussion boards. Bye. I stopped sharing, but I haven't stopped recording. Happens every time.